I need you to invite some people into the stream. I hope you can hear me now. It's so good to be here. And I need you to invite some people into the stream. As I was saying, muted, I feel like Eddie King Jr. Tonight, just rushing into church, 3-4 minutes behind. It's been a zoo of a day today. But I'm grateful to be here, and I certainly pray that you are as well. Do me a favor. I need you to share this video. I need you to share this live feed. I need you to invite somebody right now to virtual church. Tell them to tune in. I've got another very powerful and exciting word to share with you in this summer series that you asked for, that we've been praying over. And God has certainly spoke to us in a tremendous way. Listen, Instagram, if you're on Instagram, I need you to tag 5 people right now and get them in the room. Tell them to jump in the room right now. Facebook, if you're on the line, I need you to, first of all, start your watch party. Go ahead and start a watch party and on your own page, so that you can invite viewers from your page. And then if you're on Facebook, I need you to tag 5 people right now to get them on the line. If you have been with us, the last couple of weeks, we are on part 4 of this series. And if you've been with us the last couple of weeks, you know that it has been getting better and better every single week. And so I want to see you tonight. I need to see you on the line, and I need you to tag 5 people. Come on, I'm a little over tonight, so I've got about 3 minutes. I need about 3 more minutes for you to invite somebody. I need you to invite somebody and get somebody to church tonight and tell them to tune in. I'm just excited about tonight's message on the victim. It's going to be a powerful message, and I promise you, you're going to be glad that you tuned in. So invite 5 people. I need you to invite 5 people tonight into this dating series, part 4 tonight, and it's going to be a powerful message. I promise you, you are going to be blessed by it. As always, our messages are practical. They are biblically based, but they're very practical, and you should be able to take tonight's word and apply it to your life in a very tangent type of way. And so invite somebody. Come on, tag 5 people. You got 2 minutes and 15 seconds. I need you to tag 5 people quickly and get them on the line and tell them to tune in. I'm so excited to be here for Life Study. I want you to know, while you're tagging people, come on, Facebook, I need you to start moving. While you're tagging people, I want to just say good evening to all of you that are tuned in. And I certainly want you to know that I've been praying for you all week long. I've certainly been praying every morning this week for you, getting up, praying for you. And I want you to know that I'm still praying for you and your family and whatever your prayer requests are. I'm here to tell you, prayer changes things. And if it doesn't change things, it will change us so that we can handle what it is that we're dealing with. And so I want you to know that prayer still works. And it's an honor to get up every single morning and to pray for you and to pray for your family and to pray for your needs or whatever your situation is. And so come on, invite somebody. You got 1 minute, 40 seconds. Hurry. I got to get into the lesson tonight. I'm not going to be as long as I have been. I promise you, somehow, some way. I'm not going to be as long as I have been before, but I need you to invite somebody. I need you to tag somebody. I need you to invite somebody into this message and tell them to get on the line right now. I can't wait to talk about the victim. I'm going to talk about the victim, data number 4, which is the victim tonight. And it doesn't matter if you're in a relationship, if you're married, if you're single, if you don't know what you're in. I want you to tune in, and I need you to invite 5 people to tune in as well, because I'm here to tell you this message is going to be a blessing in a tremendous, tremendous way. Come on, you got 1 minute. Hurry. Come on, Facebook. Let's get that number moving up north. We've got 1 minute. I want to start this lesson tonight. I want to start this lesson and dive right into data number 4, which is the victim. And I'm going to give you some very practical things again tonight in a way that you can easily digest. And I promise you, you're going to enjoy it. You're going to enjoy it. If you have enjoyed the last 3 weeks that we've discussed, then I promise you, you are going to enjoy tonight. We are right in the midsection of the whole series. And again, I hope that this series has been a blessing to you. It's summertime, the temperature's going up, and the freaks are coming out. And so I want to make sure that you are making some wise decisions with your relationship and connection choices because at the end of the day, your destiny is connected to what you do next. I don't care who you are and what impression you have been under beforehand. Let me let you know that as a believer, as a child of God, next to every decision you make is your destiny. Your destiny is always on the line. Your future is always on the line. Your purpose is always on the line. And so you can't make decisions in a vacuum like everybody else. You've got to make decisions with your future and God's future plans for your life in mind. And so I want to challenge you tonight. This message is going to challenge you to think about those daters that we call the victim and to make some wise choices. Come on, 15 seconds. Hurry, 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 hurry. 15 seconds. I need you to chime in. Come on, Facebook. Invite them in, get them in, tag 5 people. If you have not already, I want you to think about 5 of your friends that could use this message tonight, that could use this word from the Lord tonight. And I want you to tag them quickly so that we can get started and get going. Listen, I want to get into it tonight. Dater number 4, we're going to talk about the victim. We're going to talk about dater number 4, which is the victim. And I want to start here. And fortunately, when I start the text tonight, we're only going to be coming from one text. And so we won't be bouncing around tonight, but we're right at the beginning of the lesson. And dater number 4 is the victim. All right. We're going to talk about the victim tonight. And I think you're going to find the victim to be more common among us than many of us have actually imagined. All right. So dater number 4 is the victim. Let's start. We're at the beginning. So let's start here at the beginning here, the victim. Number 1, this is what I want you to remember. Just as a precedent for what we're going to discuss, the outcome of life, really for all of us, the outcome of life is greatly connected to our choices. Before we get into any characteristics or any other stuff, let me just tell you, the outcome of your life is greatly connected to your choices. Yes. It is possible. It is possible. It is possible for you to be the victim of circumstance. It is possible for you to be the victim of things you cannot control. But at the end of the day, the outcome of most of our lives is a reflection of our choices. It's the things that we choose. And so when we understand that, we've got to understand that part of being successful in your life, whether it's in your career, relationships, whatever, part of being successful in your life is understanding the impact of making good choices. You've got to make good choices. You have to make good choices. And here's the other side of this. There are some things that some choices you're going to have to make that are going to go against the grain of what life has handed you. Life is not fair. If you're waiting on life to be fair, if you're waiting on life to always treat you the way you want to be treated, if you're waiting on life to always deal you the cards that you think you deserve, I'm here to tell you, you're living the wrong life. Life is not fair. Some days it's going to be hot. Some days it's going to be cold. Some days the sun's going to be out. Some days it's going to be raining. It's something that you cannot control. But I'm here to tell you, while life is not fair, I want you to know that at the end of the day, much of what we have is connected to our choices. We've got to make good choices. And so there are 3 critical things before we get into the characteristics of the victim. There are 3 critical things we have to remember about making choices. All right. 3 critical things. If you have a watch party going on in Facebook, I want you to put this in your watch party now so that people can see this. There are 3 critical things we need to remember about making choices. All right. 3 critical things. Number 1, you cannot always choose what happens to you, but you're always in charge of how you respond. You cannot always choose what happens to you, but you're always in charge of how you respond. Again, you cannot always choose what happens to you, but you're always in charge with how you respond. Again, I'm talking about what life hands us. Because one of the things that you're going to see about the victim is that victims tend to be people that can always and only point out what's happening to them, but they never point out the choices that they make to overcome what happens to them. In life, things are going to happen to all of us. And unfortunately, you cannot choose always what happens to you, but you are always in control of how you choose to respond to what happens to you. And so you've got to make better choices. If you've been a victim, if you are connected to a victim, you've got to encourage them to make better choices about how they choose to respond to the things that happen to them. You're either going to let things happen to you and you're going to roll over while those things happen to you, or you're going to choose to be what the Bible calls a conqueror or an overcomer. And you're going to take those things that happen to you and you're going to use those as opportunities to be better in your life, whatever that better reflection might be in whatever area of your life. You'll use those to be better. But again, you can't always choose what happens to you, but you're always in control of how you respond. All right. Number two, it's the second thing that I want you to remember about making choices. That's critical. God left us the ability to choose so we can embrace responsibility. God left us the ability to choose, to make choices so that we can embrace responsibility. Again, God left us the ability to choose so that we could embrace responsibility. Some things God did not put you in. Some things you did to yourself. I'll say that again. I know you don't want to admit it, and victims have a hard time admitting this. But some things, as much as you want to blame it on God, God did not put you in. There are some things that he put you in. There are other things that you did to yourself. You don't believe me? Ask Adam, ask Eve. I believe this. If you believe in the story of the creation, which you believe in the Bible, you believe in the story of creation. If you believe in the story of creation, I truly believe that had Adam and Eve not sinned, that they would be living, that we would actually not know sin here on earth, and that we would all be living a different life as human beings. But God did not rip the ability to choose from Adam and Eve. He didn't rip it. And this is important because the ability to choose then not only makes you human, but it gives you a chance to do something about your own life. The ability to choose gives you a chance to do something about your own life. And I don't know about you, but I would not want to serve God. Hear me. I would not be interested in serving God if he made me do everything. You hear what I'm saying? I would not be interested in serving God if he made me do everything. He cannot make you do anything. I'm going to say that again. I'm going to say that again. And some of you from certain reformations, you probably are tingling in your shoes. God cannot make you do anything. When he created you, he also gave you the right to make choices. And this is important because without the ability and the right to make choices, you then cease from being human and you become a robot. And if you are a robot, then we all could just walk into heaven because then he could hold his controls and make us do whatever we want to do. He's given us the ability to make choices. And because he's given us the ability to make choices, you are in position to do something about your life. I want you to put this in the comments right now. Put this in the comments right now. I'm glad he gave me the ability to choose. I'm glad he gave me the ability to choose. It's going to be easy for you to make that statement when you don't embrace the victim mentality. I'm glad he gave me the ability. He as in God. I'm glad God gave me the ability to choose. This is important. When you understand that, then you understand that faith without works is dead, right? The very principle of our ability to say that we believe in God is believing in somebody that we can't physically see, but knowing that he's there. And faith works the same way. Listen, God does not give you faith. God does not want you to operate in faith simply so that you can wait on him to solve your problems. God does not want you to operate in faith simply so you can wait on him to solve your problems. It doesn't work that way. What God does is he gives you faith, but then he challenges you to know that faith without works is dead. Basic example that I can give you. You can believe God all you want to for a new job. I want God to give me a new job. I need God to give me a promotion. I need God to open up a door. That's all great and dandy. You can put it on your prayer request list. I can get up every morning at 5 o'clock and pray over your prayer request. But here's the problem. Believe in God for a job, but if you don't fill out now application, you ain't going to get no job, period. Period. Because at the end of the day, faith without works is dead. God has given us faith to believe in him, but he's also given us the ability to get out of our seats and do something. And this is important. Because he's given us the ability to choose, here we go, we have to embrace the responsibility that comes with our choices. And sometimes that responsibility looks good. Sometimes that responsibility is painful. And I just want to go ahead and deal with this before we even get into the whole victim characteristics and say this. You got to stop blaming people for the choices you made. Did you hear what I said? I'm screaming already. You have to stop blaming people for the choices you made. We, the victim, will always blame people for their own choices. And they lose sight of the fact that when God made us, he made us and gave us the ability to choose. You gotta stop blaming people for the stuff you did. You have to stop blaming people for the choices you made. You cannot play the victim for the own decisions that you made. Because God gave us the ability to choose, we have to then swallow the responsibility that comes with making our choices. Grandma said it like this: if you make your bed, you got to lay in it. And victims have a hard time laying in the very bed that they made up. Watch this. This ain't even one of the characteristics, but I'm going to help you real quick. One easy way to spot out a victim is to pick out the person who is quick to not take responsibility for their own choices. If you want to see a victim, find the person who makes choices, but then blames everybody else for the choices they make. And what makes dating a person like this so dangerous is that you'll be walking around on eggshells for decisions that somebody else made that had nothing to do with you. And so you cannot afford to attach yourself to people who have not found peace in the decisions that you made. Listen, I've made some bad decisions. God is that when you love God for real, you can make some good decisions. You can make some bad decisions. But when you love God for real, you find this place called peace. Watch this. I want you to put in the comments right now, I'm at peace with my decisions. Now, you look, everybody don't have that testimony. If you're a victim, you can't say I'm at peace with my decisions. If you have a victim mentality, you can't say I'm at peace with my decisions. I'm here to tell you, I've made some dumb decisions, horrible decisions. And when I say I'm at peace with my decisions, it doesn't mean I like my decisions. It means I'm at peace at the space where God has matured me to take responsibility for my decisions. When you say I'm at peace with my decisions, you're saying, God, I accept responsibility for the beds that I made. I accept responsibility for the choices that I made. And I trust you enough that I can make a bad decision and you can make a bad decision, turn around and work in my favor. I'm at peace with my decisions. When you're at peace with your decisions, you're saying to everybody, I'm not going to play the victim. I'm not going to play the victim in my life. I'm not going to play the victim in my circumstance. I'm not going to play the victim in my choices. And most importantly, I'm not going to blame people for the stuff that I did. Y'all better stop letting people blame you for the life they living when they had the same choices you had. That was a mouthful right there. Did you hear what I said? Stop letting people blame you for the life that they're living, and it's based on the choices they made, and they had the same opportunities you had. That's called playing the victim. And it's one thing to be connected to people in friendship that are victims. Let me tell you something. When you're in a relationship with somebody who busy pointing the fingers at everybody else because of things that are going on in their life when they had the same opportunities you had, nothing spells drainage more than being connected to a victim who will not accept responsibility for their own decisions. And ain't even in my characteristics yet. You hear what I'm saying? Nothing drains you more. I'm going to get to this drainage thing, but nothing drains you more than to be connected to a victim who refuses to accept responsibility for the choices they made. Stop letting people put you in a position where they guilt trip you about the choices they made. Because here's my thing, and this is just where I am. If I got to accept responsibility for my decisions, you're going to have to accept responsibility for yours. If I got to accept responsibility for my choices, you got to accept responsibility for your choices. If I had to accept responsibilities for all the dumb stuff I did, then you got to accept responsibility for all the dumb stuff you did. And no, I ain't going to hold you up. And I'm going to deal with that later. Because the victims, you know you got a victim. I ain't going to hold you up. I ain't going to hold you down. That's the right phrase. You know you got a victim. I feel like I'm skipping ahead, but this thing is getting good to me. You know you got a victim on your hand if they say phrases like this. Yeah, girl. Yeah, man. I need you to just hold me down. Can you just hold me down while I get some? No, I'm not holding nothing down. When you are in situations, when you are in circumstances, you have to use opposition as opportunities to be better. You don't need nobody holding you down. You need somebody to say to you, okay, you're in the position that you're in. How are we going to get out of this? And that's what's wrong with this society and this culture that we're in. You want somebody to hold, Pastor, I need somebody to hold me down. I don't need nobody to hold me down. No, I don't need nobody to hold me down. I don't need nobody to put their foot on me. I don't need nobody to keep me in position, keep me in place. I don't need nobody to hold me down. What I need is somebody to either lift me up, watch this, or give me a kick in the butt and say, don't just stand there, but do something better about your situation. All right. Here's the third thing that I want you to remember about making choices. And then I got to get to the characteristics. The third critical thing I want you to remember about making choices is this. The domain of the immature resides in the space called blame. Did you hear what I said? The domain of the immature resides in the space called blame. The domain of the immature, talking about three critical things to remember about making choices. The domain of the immature resides in the space called blame. Watch this. Where blame is, when blame is the response to choice, there can never be growth. Listen to what I'm saying. I feel like I'm getting too heavy tonight. Where blame is the response to choice, there can never be growth. So when a person responds to the choices they make by pointing the finger, they will never grow. And you will know you have a victim on your hand when their response to the choices they make is not responsibility, but pointing fingers. Well, if such and such would have done this, then I would be doing this. If such and such would not have done this, I would not be here. If such and such would not have said this, then this would not have happened to me. When instead, the response should be taking ownership and responsibility for the choices that we make. Watch this. Show me somebody who loves to place blame, and I'll show you somebody who's okay being where they are. Show me somebody who loves to place blame, and I'll show you somebody who is okay being who they are. Because people who point the fingers, who play the blame game, are not interested in changing. They're only interested in buying time through excuses. I can't deal with excuses yet, but I'm coming. So they don't want to change. They're just using excuses to buy time. And I'm here to tell you, if you find somebody who always likes to place blame, you're not only dealing with the victim, you're dealing with somebody who is okay being who they are. Those who place blame, watch this, are not only okay being who they are, this one's going to shock you, but people who place blame are naturally needy. Did you know that people who place blame are naturally needy people? Needy people. Why? Because it starts with needing somebody to validate their blame. And I'm going to show you how to shut up a victim real fast. It's my last characteristic, so I can't spoil it now. But let me just say this to you. When you've got a victim on your hand, when you're in relationship with a victim, when you're dating a victim, if you're married to a victim, if you're friends with a victim, when you have a victim on your hand, let me tell you something. You also got a needy person on your hand, because they would rather point the fingers and blame everybody else for their circumstance than tightening their bootstraps and doing something about it. And hear me. And not only is that the case, they will rely on you co-signing their finger pointing before they choose to do something, which is why you got to be careful when you co-sign a victim. When you are dealing with a victim, you better be careful co-signing their foolishness. Because when you co-sign the foolishness of a victim, you are giving them the license to continue to point blame. You cannot co-sign a victim. You cannot co-sign a person who would prefer to place blame, because then they will reflect to you this need to be needy. They will rely on you co-signing. Yep, you ain't further than where you are because these people did this to you. And yeah, you're in the position where you are because all of these things happening. No. When you feed a person like that, they then become needy on your confirmation. They then become needy on your justification for their behavior and their foolishness. And so you cannot co-sign a victim. You cannot co-sign a victim. Listen, I ain't co-signing nobody else's foolishness. I ain't co-signing nobody else's ignorance because I got enough problems of my own. You want to set yourself free tonight? I want you to put this in the comments. I got my own problems. That's it. It ain't deep. Put it in the comments. I have my own issues. I ain't co-signing nobody else's foolishness because I got my own foolishness. I ain't co-signing nobody else's ignorance because I got my own ignorance. I ain't co-signing nobody else's challenges because I got my own challenges. I ain't co-signing nobody else's problems because I got my own problems. The best I can do is pray for you and coach you so that you can see a better day. But when you have issues, watch this, and some of those issues are self-induced, you cannot co-sign self-induced issues. Because when you co-sign self-induced issues, that is the very definition of holding people down. Y'all stop holding these folks down. Why are you holding folk down? I'm not about to hold you down and co-sign your no. Yeah, you got challenges. I got challenges too. If you connected to a victim, yeah, we all got challenges. But hear me, The best thing you can do for somebody you connected to that's got challenges is not to co-sign their excuses and their blame and their challenges. The best thing you can do is grab them and say, all right, I didn't let you cry for 3 minutes. Now, what are we going to do to make the situation better? What are we going to do to turn things around? Because when you co-sign folks in their whining, you are giving them the license to become needy. Good God from Zion! Ladies and gentlemen, do you hear me? When you co-sign folks who place blame, you're asking them to become needy. You're asking them to become needy. And you've got to grab people and shake some sense in them and help them to understand that the only way you get out of self-induced issues is finding a way to faith your way out of it. And faith without works is dead. Well, Pastor, he go to church. I've been dating him. And Pastor, you know, he go to church and, you know, he told me, Pastor, she told me, Pastor, they got a temper issue and they going to church because they want the Lord to work on it. That's great. Come to church. Let the Lord minister to them. Let the pastor preach to them. That's great. But what are the tangible things that they're doing that you can measure that shows that they're taking their faith and they're moving it into action? Because if not, you will end up with a person who will even use their faith as a crutch not to change. Did you hear what I said? The victim will even use faith as a crutch not to change. God is working on me. Leave me alone. Be patient with me. God ain't through with me. I know he ain't through with you. But have you even started on you? Did you hear what I said? It's for those of you that let victims say stuff like, well, you know, be patient with me, child, because God ain't through with me, honey. Be patient with me. God is still working on me. You got to be patient. Yeah, we patient. We being patient. We trying our best to be patient. But my question is, while God is working on you, what are you doing about your own situation? What are you doing about your own? While we know God is fixing you and dealing with you, what are you doing to move yourself from being needy and from pointing the finger to accepting the finger? We know he's working on you, but faith without works is still dead. Let's get into this. Let me give it to you real fast. I'm going to give you 5 characteristics of the victim. I'm going to give you 5 characteristics of the victim. 5 characteristics of the victim. And I'm going to Exodus chapter number 4. Get it quickly. Exodus chapter number 4. Get it quickly. And while you're getting it, I want you to invite 5 people to church. Tag 5 people right now. We are talking about the victim because some of y'all going to find out tonight that you've been dating a victim. You have been dating a bona fide victim. You have been connected, married to a bona fide victim. You have been connected. Your friends in your circle are victims. And you're going to find some stuff out tonight that's going to shock you. Let's look at this. 5 characteristics of the victim. And we are in Exodus chapter 4. Exodus chapter 4, New Living Translation. We're going to deal with these needy people who always feel like something is against them. All right. Exodus number 4, chapter 4, verse number 10. Here we go. Look at this. New Living Translation says, but Moses, verse 10, Moses pleaded with the Lord. Oh Lord, I'm not very good with words. I never have been, and I'm not now. Even though you have spoken to me, I get tongue-tied and my words get tangled. Verse 11. Then the Lord asked Moses, who makes a person's mouth? Who decides whether people speak or do not hear? Who decides whether people speak or do not speak? I'm sorry. Hear or do not hear? See or do not see? Is it not I, the Lord? Verse 12. Now go, I will be with you as you speak, and I will instruct you in what to say. Look at verse 13. But Moses again pleaded, Lord, please send anyone else. Now, Moses was chosen to lead God's people. Moses had a stuttering issue. That was his challenge. He had a stuttering issue. He didn't want to be in the front and the leader. He didn't feel like he was qualified. He didn't feel like he was capable. And God said, I need you to go lead my people. And what Moses did was give us the first characteristic of the victim. You ready? Characteristic number one. The victim, they live in the space called excuse. The victim lives in the space called excuse. Victims are professional excuse makers. Professional excuse makers. They see challenges as excuses and not opportunities. You want to know you got a victim on your hand? All you got to do is pay attention to how they see challenges, because victims don't see challenges as opportunities. They see challenges as excuses. I would do this if this were not in place. I would do this if this were not going on. I would be this if I had this. I would go there if I had this. And what they don't realize is the more they make excuses, the more they will find themselves stuck where they are. Not only do they not see excuses as opportunities, this is a big one. This is a big one. Victims can be very vindictive, very cynical, and extremely passive aggressive. I feel like I'm getting too deep now. Victims can be very vindictive. They can be very cynical, and they can be very passive aggressive. Did you hear what I said? Y'all need to be recording this. Victims can be very vindictive, can be very cynical, and can be very passive aggressive. Vindictive and cynical. It's convenient for them to criticize people. They would rather criticize or be negative about everybody else than to see what's wrong with them. They would rather point out the negative and what's going on with everybody else than to see what's wrong with them. They are the ultimate people who can see everybody else's problems but their own. And when you call them out on it, they get really, really, really upset. Watch this. Some of you don't even know that you had a victim, and the only sign you had is that when you called out something they did wrong, they quite naturally got very, very angry. Victims get very angry when you call out what's wrong with them. They get very angry when you call out what's wrong with them. They are incredibly vindictive. They are incredibly cynical. Watch this. And their passive aggressive behavior makes them hard to correct. They can be very passive aggressive. My way or no way kind of people. Y'all didn't know that was in the victim, did you? My way or no way. You know why it's natural for them to be my way or no way? Because the only way they want to see is their own way. That's it. The only way they want to see is their own way, which means they don't listen well. Victims don't listen well. They only want to be heard. Some of y'all have been in arguments with folk and you can't even get two words in. And while you are trying to make your point, they are trying to talk back to you, but they really ain't making a point. They spending the majority of their argument pointing out what's wrong with you and pointing out what you didn't do and pointing out what you did and pointing out what everybody else is doing and pointing out everybody else's flaws. And a red light ought to go off in your brain that I've got a victim on my hand. Because victims can't listen. And they refuse to listen because they only want to be heard. And when they talk, they're either blaming or they're making excuses. And I learned a long time ago that excuses are the tools of the incompetent that build monuments of nothing. And those who make excuses normally amount to nothing. You better stop wasting your time with excuse makers. Put it in the comments right now. I refuse to waste my time with excuse makers. Come on. Come on. Put it in the comments. I refuse to waste my time with excuse makers. Talk back to me. I refuse to waste my time with excuse makers. You're trying to help folk, but they don't want to be helped. They want to be heard. A victim doesn't want to be helped. Did y'all hear what I said? A victim doesn't want to be helped. A victim only wants to be heard. A victim does not want to be helped. They only want to be heard. And you can't afford to waste another ounce of your time with excuse makers. You cannot afford to waste another ounce of your future with excuse makers. You'll never be able to get a point across to them. They'll always have a rebuttal to everything you say, even when there is no more rebuttal. They'll always come up with a reason to justify their own foolishness. And this is called making excuses. And the number one characteristic you've got to know about a victim, the victim, is that they love to make excuses. Excuses give them a reason not to change. And you only need people in your life who want to embrace an opportunity to change. All of us daily should be looking for opportunities to grow and get better. Should be daily looking for opportunities to grow and develop better, to mature more, to be smarter, to be wiser, to be better thinkers. But victims can't even get in that space because they would rather make an excuse than grow. They would rather make an excuse than grow. Characteristic number 2. I feel like I'm talking over y'all's head tonight. It's quiet in the chat rooms. It's quiet on the comments list. But I'm here to tell you, you've got an excuse maker on your hand. You've got a victim on your hand. And you cannot afford to go another step forward with people who live and thrive in excuses. Okay? Characteristic number 2. I'm in Exodus chapter 4, verse 14. Get it quickly. Exodus chapter 4, verse number 14. You with me? Exodus chapter 4, verse number 14. Here we go. Bible says, then the Lord, did you see what I'm reading? Exodus 4 and 14. Shocker. Then the Lord became angry with Moses. I'm in Exodus 4, verse 14. Then the Lord became angry with Moses. All right, he said, what about your brother Aaron the Levite? I know he speaks well. And look, he is on his way to meet you now. He will be delighted to see you. So Moses said, God, I don't want the gig because I got a stuttering problem. And this is my excuse for me not to take and do what you told me to do. So the Bible says in verse 14 that the Lord gets angry with Moses because the Lord sees that Moses would rather make an excuse than to move forward and use the excuse or the challenge as an opportunity to grow. Here's the second characteristic of a victim. Watch this. And this is only for my strong people. You ready? Victims are natural drainers to strong people. Victims are natural drainers to strong people. Victims are natural drainers to strong people. Watch this. This point right here, it's just only for my strong people. If you're strong, I want you to listen up. One way you'll know you got a victim on your hand is if you are a strong person and you are connected to somebody who has ability, but they only make excuses, and you find yourself consistently drained by their willingness to, instead of moving or going forward, they would rather make excuses. You know you got a victim on your hand when they naturally drain you. This is how they drain you. They drain you because you'll end up carrying them instead of walking with them. Did you hear what I said? Victims will drain you because you will end up carrying them instead of walking with them. Yep. You'll end up carrying them, and they'll take their oversized, grown water-headed self and jump right in your arms and let you try to carry them. A victim don't want to walk with you. A victim wants you to carry them. And I'm here to tell you that a victim or a person who would rather be carried instead of walking with you when you're strong will drain you. They'll drain every ounce of energy you have. They'll drain every ounce of strength you have. They prefer to whine about what they don't have instead of doing something about it. They prefer to murmur and complain about what they have instead of doing something about it. Watch this. And sometimes the only way you know you got a victim is by how their complaining impacts you. Did you hear what I said? Sometimes the only way you know you got a victim is by how their complaining impacts you. I ain't talking about just ordinary kind of complaining. I'm talking about next level, I want you to carry me, I don't want to do this on my own kind of complaining. This stuff will drain you. And sometimes the only way you know as a strong person you got a victim on your hand is by how their complaining impacts you as a strong person. Watch this. I want you to remember this. The only difference between a complaint and an opportunity is perspective. The only difference, I want you to put this in the comments right now. The only difference between a complaint and an opportunity is perspective. The only difference between a complaint and an opportunity is perspective. Because a complaint and an opportunity can look like the same thing. What makes them different is how you see them. And victims are where they are, not because they don't have the same chances. They are where they are because they choose to see opportunities as reasons to complain instead of seeing opportunities as reasons to grow and be better. This is important. When you come to grips with this, then you also come to grips with this. When you come to grips with that, you also come to grips with this, and this is simple. You can never convince a complainer or a whiner of their ability. I don't care how much you believe in them. I don't care how many tools they have. I don't care how smart they might be. I don't care how much potential they have. I'm gonna get on that in a second. I don't care about none of that. You can never convince a complainer or a whiner of their ability. They'll only see it when they choose to see it. That's it. They can be great. They can be lovely. They can be wonderful. They can have the ability to do all kinds of things. But I'm here to tell you, you will talk until you turn blue in the face, trying to convince a victim to see their own abilities. And some of you have been drained to all heavens, trying to convince victims to see their own abilities. And tonight, I want to free you. I need to free your stress levels. I need to free your blood pressure levels. I need to free your blood sugar levels. I need to free everything about you that's ailing you and help you to understand that you can't waste another ounce of your energy trying to convince people in their own abilities. Because again, when you got a complainer on your hands, when you got a whiner on your hands, when you got a woe is me kind of person on your hands, the only way they're going to see their ability is when they choose to see it. Period. It don't matter how wonderful you are. It don't matter how great of a counselor you are. I have counseled thousands of people. But let me tell you something. Change only comes after counseling when a person decides to make a change. When a person decides to see what's wrong and decides to do something with what they see. You can be brilliant. You can be smart. Some of you are wasting your brilliantness, if that's a word. You're wasting your brilliantness on people who can't see their own abilities. You got to stop. It will drain your very energy. It will drain your very drive. You got to stop, because a victim don't want to do nothing but complain and whine. And when you are around a person who prefers to complain, who prefers to whine, they'll never see their ability until they decide they want to see it. Let me put it to you another way. I want you to put this in the comments. You ready? Misery still loves company. Put it in the comments. Misery still loves company. It loved company 100 years ago. It loves company today. Misery still loves company. I need a t-shirt that says you're wasting my brilliantness. There we go. That's my next t-shirt. You're wasting my brilliantness. Misery still loves company. It does. And when you realize that misery still loves company, you just don't waste your time trying to convince a complainer or a whiner of anything. Either you're going to believe what I'm telling you about you, or you ain't going to believe it. Either you're going to believe that you can come out of this situation, or you ain't. Either you're going to believe that life has something better to offer you, or you not. But people like that will drain the life out of you. They'll drain the life out of you because they always got a sad story. They always, not only do they always have a sad story, they always choose the sad story. Because listen, we all got sad stories. Oh, come on. We all have sad stories. All of us have something that we can be sad about. But the problem is, some people choose to be whiners and some of us choose to be overcomers. And I want you to put this in the comments right now. I feel like preaching tonight. Put this in the comments right now. I chose to be an overcomer. Put it in the comments. I chose to be an overcomer. I chose to be an overcomer. When you make that choice, not only are you making it for you, you're making it for everybody attached to you. I'm sorry. I made a personal decision. I chose to be an overcomer. If there's one thing Pastor can't stand, I got a handful of pet peeves. But if there's one thing I cannot stand, it's for a person to come running to me whining with a bunch of excuses. Whining with a bunch of things that's wrong. Whining with a bunch of things that ain't working right. I get it. It's the story of my life. When I fix one problem, I got 10 other problems I got to solve. It's the story of my life. But I choose not to whine in it. I chose to be an overcomer. I chose to be a conqueror. I chose to be above and not beneath. I chose to be the lender and not the borrower. Life is all about choices. Yes, again, going back to what I said in the beginning, there are some things that are out of your control. But for the most part, we have, as adults, we have a lot of choices that we can make that can change the outcomes of our situations. And you've got to choose to be an overcomer. Put it in the comments. I chose to be an overcomer. Third characteristic. This one's big. Instagram, I'm about to lose you. I'm going to go ahead and kill the feed. I'm going to bring you right back in. I'm going to bring you right back in. But I need you to hurry up and get in the feed, Instagram. Don't y'all take all day. I need y'all to get in the feed fast because number 3 is going to be fire. The third characteristic of the victim. All right. So I want y'all to get back in the feed immediately. All right. Facebook, Periscope, put it in the comments now. I chose to be an overcomer. I chose to be an overcomer. I chose to be an overcomer. Put it in there right now, quickly. You got to make a choice not to be the victim, but you got to make a choice to be the overcomer. You got to make a choice to make the situation better. You got to make a choice to do something better and not let life get the best of you. You got to make a choice. I chose to be an overcomer. Make the choice. Don't let life make the choice for you. You make the choice. Don't let circumstances make the choice for you. You make the choice. I chose to be an overcomer. When you make that choice, then I'm telling you, not only does your mentality change, it forces the mentality of the people around you to change. And so you just can't tolerate a whole lot of whining. People at rehab will tell you, people that I've led in higher education and in my professional world will tell you that I've managed. I don't like for people to run to me with a whole bunch of whining and excuses. I don't like for people to run to me with a whole bunch of whining and complaining and excuse. No, that's just not the kind of, I don't function well in that space. You can't run to me with a bunch of whining and excuses. Now, I'll let you have your moment. Every now and then life hands you a card that hits you unexpectedly. I get it. We all are entitled to have a moment, but your moment will become your misery if you stay there. Did you hear what I said? Your moment will become your misery if you choose to stay there. Don't you ever forget that I told you that. Your moment will become your misery if you make the choice to stay there. And so you can come to me. If I'm your leader, if I'm your manager, you can come to me. You can have a moment. You can have a bad day. Something didn't go the way you planned. I get it. It can happen to all of us. We all are human. Because we are human, we all are entitled to have a moment. But when your moment becomes your misery, then you will find yourself in a place where there is no growth, where there is no development. And so you can't die in your misery. You can't let the moment become your misery. You got to shake the moment off and do something next. Characteristic number 3. All right. I'm still in Exodus chapter 5. Exodus chapter 4, right? Exodus chapter 4, verse 15 through 17. Exodus chapter 4. That was better than y'all saying amen. Exodus chapter 4, verse 15 through 17. Exodus chapter 4, verse 15 through 17. We are talking about the 5 characteristics of the victim. I'm on characteristic number 3. Pastor's making good time tonight. Look at this. Exodus chapter 4, verse 15 through 17 says this. So Moses says, listen, choose somebody else. I don't want to do this. Go choose Aaron because I ain't equipped to do this. And God gets frustrated with Moses. The Bible says, in fact, gets angry with Moses. Look at verse 15 through 17. Talk to him and put the words in his mouth. I will be with both of you as you speak. This is the Lord talking. I will be with both of you as you speak, and I will instruct you both in what to do. Aaron will be your spokesman to the people. He will be your mouthpiece, and you will stand in the place of God for him, telling him what to say. Verse 17, and take your shepherd's staff with you and use it to perform the miraculous signs I have shown you. Here's the third characteristic of the victim, because the Lord in essence says, okay, all right, you don't want to do this. You done made me angry. All right, so go get Aaron. I'm going to put the words in Aaron's mouth, and you just come along. You just come along, and I'm going to let you just come along, and I'm going to just let you complete the equation, and I'll let Aaron do the talking, and you just bring your staff, and, I'll let you, perform some miracles and stuff like that. Here's the third characteristic of a victim. You ready? They desire to complete you more than compliment you. The victim desires to complete you more than compliment you. The victim has a desire to complete you more than compliment you. Let me tell you something about your role in dating, relationships, marriages, friendships, etc. The people in your life should not complete you. They should compliment you. I'm about to lose some of you. The people in your life should not complete you. They should compliment you. I know what you've been told. Yeah, Pastor, I'm waiting on the Lord to send me somebody that's going to complete me. Nah, if folks got to complete you, that means when you combine with them, or when you join with them, when you married with them, when you became in a relationship with them, whatever with them, when you connected to them, that means you weren't whole in the first place. And that, my friends, is one of the major issues in relationships, marriages, and connections. Because when two incomplete people get together and think that them being incomplete and coming together will make them complete, they end up just being two broken people hoping that their brokenness and their being together will complete them. And sometimes it works. Other times it's like rolling snake eyes and dice. You don't need to be with nobody to complete you. You need to be with somebody who can compliment you. Oh, y'all quiet. I'm losing you. Because I'm going to just tell you like this. When you get with somebody, your desire is not for them to make you whole. When you get with them, you need to be whole before you get with them. Good God from Zion. Let me tell you something. Completing someone, whether you realize this or not, I knew I was going to lose some of you here. Whether you realize this or not, can I say this to you? Whether you realize this or not, completing someone means you don't have as much to offer. When you say, hey, I want to complete you, or hey, I want you to complete me, what you are speaking to is your deficiency. What you are speaking to is your deficiency. You're not speaking to your strengths when you say, hey, I want somebody who can complete me. What you are speaking to, come on, mentality change. You are speaking to your deficiency. What you are saying is, I need somebody who can help me in the areas where I'm not what I should be. And victims do this. The victim wants to be completed. The victim does not want to be complimented. I feel like this is too much tonight. Look, think about it this way. Think about it this way. If let's do an English writing lesson tonight. Let's go practical, because I feel like I'm losing some of you. Let's go practical. Look at completing a person the same way you would look at filling in the blank, right? If you, I was doing assignments with Giselle and Four when they were in school. More Four than Giselle. Four is just learning his words. Look at this. Listen to this analogy. Four was just learning his words, and so his teachers would send through the iPads some sentences, these assignments he would have to do. He would have to fill in the blanks. I want you to look at completing people like filling in the blank. Okay, here's how. Because when Thor had to look at the sentence, the dog blank to get to the other side. And the choices were right there. The dog walked to get to the other side. The dog ate to get to the other side. No. The dog barked to get to the other side. No. The dog screamed to get to the other side. No. The answer is the dog walked to get to the other side. So my son had to look at the choices that were provided to him and simply had to fill in the blank from what was provided. Watch this. When people complete you, all they're doing is filling in holes that exist. I feel like I'm losing y'all. Victims want you to fill in the holes because for them, it's easier to just fill in the holes and the deficiencies where they're lacking. Watch this. Completing fills in the holes. Complimenting adds to the sentence. So Thor, back to my example, Thor is working on sentences where he has to fill in the blanks. He's in kindergarten, now going to first grade, but he was in kindergarten. He's filling in sentences. The blank went across, the dog blanked to get across the street. The dog walked to get across the street. He just filled and he went through the choices. He had to find something to complete the sentence. The sentence was already prepared. All he had to do was just fill in the blank. Giselle in first grade had a different set of assignments. Giselle had to read a story. And when Giselle read the story, this is what she did. The teacher would say, Giselle, you just read the story. Now, I want you to take the story and take your understanding of the story. Watch this. And I want you to add 5 sentences to the story that show your understanding of what you read. Now, here's the rules. You can't rewrite what you just read because the work's already been done. I want you to write 3 to 5 sentences, Giselle, to add to the story that's already been presented. That's called complimenting. When people only want to fill in the blank, all they want to do is complete. But when people want to compliment your life, watch this. They ain't trying to fill in the sentences to your broken sentence. They want to add sentences to who you already are. I ain't got no help in this basement church. Pastor, they complete me. Yeah, they just filling in the holes they just filling in all the holes of your deficiencies. Pastor, I complete them. Yeah, all you doing is just patching up the holes in the sentence. But what you need is somebody that can compliment you. What you need is somebody who wants to be complimented. I don't need you to fill in no holes because when I got you or when you got me, I was already whole. I was already a complete sentence when you found me. Listen, here's your word for the night. Be a new sentence and not a word. I want you to put it in the comment. Be a new sentence, not a word. Because some of you in your dating choices, you looking for words. And that's because you're looking for people to complete you. But God wants you to shift from looking for words to looking for sentences. Good God from Zion. You don't need a word. You don't need a sentence. You don't need a word. You need a sentence. Be a new sentence, not a word. In fact, I hear you, Michelle. Michelle said, be a whole paragraph. Some of y'all don't even need a sentence. Some of us are in a space where we so whole and so confident and satisfied with where we are and where God taken us that you can't even come with 1 or 2 sentences. You got to bring a whole book. Be a sentence and not a word. Because some of y'all are letting people just fill in the blanks. And some of y'all got victims on your hands, and all you doing is patching up holes. I love it. TJ said, be a thesis. Let me do you one better with my PhD self. Be a dissertation. Have some references. Have some sources. Show me that what you bring to the table is legit. Some of y'all got to stop fooling with these victims who only want to fill in the blank. And you better get you somebody who can bring a sentence to the table. If the only way they can be whole is by adding to you, you got a victim. If the only way they can be whole is by leeching on to you, you got a victim. If they want to be up under you because being under you makes them whole, you got a victim. You got a victim. Baby, honey, sugar bear, all they doing is using you to fill in the blanks in their broken sentences. And I'm here to tell you that when you take 2 broken sentences and put 2 broken sentences together, all you got left is a bunch of empty blanks. That's all you got. Watch this. And I ain't got time to deal with this, but can I say this? You talking about a bad relationship combination? A bad relationship combination is to have 2 victims together. Check this out. Imagine 2 people being together. And when they're together, imagine 2 people being together who have a bunch of empty blanks in their life, depending on the other person to add sentences or to add words to their sentences when they don't have nothing to give. Watch this. I'm about to get in trouble. I'm about to get in trouble. I'm really about to get in trouble, but I'm about to just go here. You know, the old saints used to say this back in the day, and I'm about to get in trouble. This is going to be bad. I'm going to pay for this. Old saints used to say something back in the day, and they used to say, if you broke, you don't need to get somebody who got money. To get in trouble. I know. If you ain't got no money, you don't need to be out here trying to get somebody who got money. What you need to be doing now, hear me. That don't mean you don't deserve to get somebody who got a little bit of change. That's not what I'm saying. What they meant by that was, if you broke, the last thing you need to be doing is trying to find somebody that's got some money. The first thing you need to be doing is trying to get your money up. Because see, if you broke and you want somebody who got some money, then it only makes sense for you to fill in the holes in your sentence before you connect with somebody who financially already got complete sentences. That's why if you broke and you just got to have somebody right now, you better get somebody that's just as broke as you is. I said you is. Y'all don't like this. I know you don't like it. I know you don't like this. Pastor, how dare you come across bougie and stuff? No, I'm not. I'm giving you some good old-fashioned wisdom. If you broke and you just got to have somebody right now, which I wouldn't recommend, because my thing is, broke love is not fun love. I know your love making skills is great, and I know fellas, you make a holler, and ladies, I know you make them call you names he never call. I get it, but let me tell you something. Broke love is not fun love. I'ma just tell you straight up. If you ain't got no money, You don't even need to be thinking about dating right now. Oh, it's quiet. I told you it was going to get good with characteristic 3. Well, Pastor, as long as we got each other, we got all we need. The devil is a bald-headed. The devil is a bald-headed Donald Trump. Did y'all hear what I said? Well, Pastor, we in love, and that's all we need. I ain't got nothing. He ain't got nothing. I ain't got nothing. She ain't got no. No. If you think you smashing good and broke, let me tell you something. Ain't nothing like a smash when you got some dollars in your pocket. Y'all cry. You not talking back to me. So just kill that noise. Kill that excuse. Broke love is not good love. If you broke, you don't need to be dating nobody right now. If you broke and you want to be with somebody who got money, I'm here to tell you, you are a bona fide victim. You didn't hear what I said. You're a bona fide victim because your number one goal ought to be getting your money up. Yeah, you can like them. They could be fine and cute and all of that stuff and have everything together and let that be aspirational. But before you pursue, you better go at them and make sure you have filled in some of the blanks in your life. Or else take the old folks' advice. Either don't date until you get your money up, or if you broke, go find you somebody else that's broke, and hopefully y'all can figure it out together. Oh, y'all don't like this here. I know you don't like. Pastor, how dare you? How dare you? No, it ain't how dare me. It's how dare you. Huh? You've got to know where you are, because I'm here to tell you, if the only way you can be whole is by somebody adding to you, you are a victim. Period. You don't go in relationships partial. You go in relationships as full sentences. Be a sentence and not a word. Be a sentence and not a word. You don't need to be somebody's word. You need to be somebody's sentence. You need to be somebody's book. You need to be somebody's thesis. You need to be somebody's dissertation. And this is in not just relationships, friendships too, because I'm here to tell you, I'm about to get in more trouble. Here we go. Some of y'all, all you doing is hanging around with folk who broke and don't want more for themselves than what they got. Now I get it. We all have a struggling season. All of us. God knows. I've been so broke and so poor that I literally could not pay attention. I understand what you're saying. Okay? I get it. You can't talk to me about being poor because I've been poor. Can't talk to me about being broke because I've been broke. I understand that. But hear what I'm saying. Even in your friendships and your friendship circles, you better check your circles. You better check your circles and understand that if you got folk in your circle, it's one thing to have folk in your circle who ain't got no money. It's another thing to have folk in your circle who ain't got no money. Watch this. And don't want their own money. Yeah, broke people can be around me, can hang around me. That's fine. But while you're around me, you need to be figuring out how you can get some money. Watch this. I'm about to prophesy to some of you. Y'all ain't gonna want this prophetic. You want this prophetic word? I'm about to prophesy to you right now. Watch this. If you have been the person in your crew of friends, in your crew of relationships that's been paying for all the meals, that's been paying all the tabs, you roommates and you've been paying all the bills. If you are the person that's been doing all the paying, I'm here to tell you, you are leached on to somebody who is just filling in the blank and who ain't adding sentences. And here's the prophetic word. Now that you figure it out, I'm praying that God gives you the strength to find a new set of people in your circle. So you are not the only one that's paying all the tabs. You ought to be tired of going out to eat and you always the one paying the bill. I'm trying to help you. Well, Pastor, I got you next time. next time. I got you when my taxes come out next year. I got you, girl. I got you next time. I got you on my birthday. You know, when my birthday money comes in. Stop it! You ought to be tired of that. You ought to be tired of that. You ought to want people in your circle who's trying to add as much in your circle as you are adding to your circle. Stop it. Because I'm here to tell you, if you paying all the tabs in your circle, you are surrounded by a bunch of victims. Let me move on to characteristic 4. I'm running out of time. Characteristic number 4, wrapping up this Exodus Moses story. Y'all better stop paying all these tabs in your circles. Y'all better stop paying for everything in your circle. I'm telling you, you better stop ignoring the signs. Because I'm here to tell you, victims will let you take care of everything and leech right on and won't even open their mouth to part their mouth. Won't part their mouth one time to cover the bill. Won't part their mouth one time to cover the meal. Stop it. Characteristic number 5. You ready? 4th characteristic of a victim is this. This is the domain of those who rely on their potential. 4th characteristic of a victim is this. They are in love with their potential. They are in love with their potential. Victims are in love with their potential. They are in love with their potential. You know you got a victim on your hands because they are in love with their potential. They are in love with their potential. They think that potential is enough. And this is where, and I said this earlier in the broadcast, this is often where the hold me down people reside. You know, I'm having a hard time right now, sis. I'm having a hard time right now, man. And but I got a lot, to offer, and I just need you to hold me down while I get it together. No. And especially in dating relationships, no. Because you can spend years of your life holding down somebody who really needs you to help pick them up so they can push forward and be better. Stop holding folks down. These folks who are in love with their potential can only see things through a lens of what they don't have. They are glasses half full kinds of people. I'm sorry, glasses half empty kinds of people. They can only see what they don't have. They can only see things through a lens of what's missing. And these people are incredibly dangerous because they put so much weight on what they don't have. They will put more weight on what they don't have. Watch this. And start counting what they don't have as if it's valuable. Did you hear what I said? Victims will count what they don't have and they will put weight on it as if what they don't have is valuable. Oh, I ain't got this, but that's okay. It's still counting as something. Oh, I don't have this, but what I'm missing or what little bit I do have still counts as something. Oh, I ain't got all of my stuff together. I'm working on, but what I do have does still count as something. I'm here to tell you something. When you're dealing with folks like that, you are dealing with a victim. Now, let me give you something we all can understand, especially those of us that celebrated Juneteenth. And if you celebrated Juneteenth and you played cards, you may have played a card game called Spades. I'm about to help you. Here's another practical example for you. You probably played a spade card game called Spades. And let me tell you something. When you are playing spades and you got a partner in spades, it's 4 y'all. You got a partner in spades. And y'all get your cards. And y'all sitting there holding your cards. You got the paper there. And whoever's recording score is going to say, okay, how many books y'all got? How many books y'all got? And you have to look across the table, ask your partner, hey, how many books you got? Your partner is going to look at their hands, watch this, and they should, a good card player, watch this, is going to tell you how many books they have. Let me tell you the kind of card players I don't like to play with. I'm about to get in trouble. The kind of card players I don't like to play with are the people who start rattling off all their possibles. I don't like no possible card players. Well, I got 4 books and 5 possibles. How do you have 5 possibles? Let me tell you how you got 5 possibles. The only way you got 5 possibles and 4 books is if you don't know how to evaluate a book. I'm preaching better than y'all saying amen. And let me tell you something about a victim. A victim does not know how to evaluate a book. They have no idea. Victims in a spades game will sit there and hold the cards and be like, yep, I got 4 books, 5 possibles. And meanwhile, you know how to play 5. Meanwhile, you know how to play. You on the other end of the table like 5 possibles. That means you got 9 possible books. How can you possibly have 9 books? And it is a reminder that they don't have a clue of what they're doing. Let me tell you something. In spades, it's okay to have some possibles, but the only number that counts is the book. Y'all not listening to me. Hello? In spades, it's okay to have some possibles. Watch this, but you better not open up your mouth talking about what possibles you got. I ain't talking about you amateur card players. I'm talking about those of you that play cards for real. You better not open up your mouth talking about, yeah, I got this many possibles. Folks don't want to hear how many possibles you got. And victims love to talk about possibilities. I'm going to run a Boston all by itself. Victims love to talk about possibilities. Yeah, you know, I got this possibly going. I can possibly this. I can possibly do this. I can possibly be this. I can possibly be this. I can possibly do this. I got the potential to do this. I got the potential to do this. Stop talking about possibles and talk to me about books. Because again, in spades, it's okay to have some potentials, but you better not bank your outcome on a potential. Can I speak to those of you that are connected to victims in your life right now? God is saying for some of you, you have wasted time in your life because you have invested more in the potential than the book. Hello, Zion. You've invested more in potentials than books. You've been dating potentials more than books. You've been dating folks who bring a lot of possibilities, but they ain't got no stability. They ain't got no proven stability. God said, if you want to grow in this season, in your relationships, in your connections, you got to chill with the potential and start banking on some books. Come on, put this in the comments right now. I need more books. They're going to go back and look at the replay and be like, what? Yeah, we talking in the context of car. I need more books in my life. I don't need more people with potential in my life. I got enough people in my life with potential. I got enough people in my life with ability and potential. I got enough people in my life that can be a possibility with possibilities. I don't need no more of that. I need more books in my life because books are going to be the things you can count on. Books are going to be the things that are proven. Books are going to be the things you can record. Books are going to be the things that you know you can depend on. You need more books, not possibilities. Next time y'all play cards and spades, you need to remind them of this lesson when they talk about something, they got 3 possibilities. Let me tell you, anybody you play cards with that start banking on possibilities, you got an amateur card player on your hand. I don't need more potentials in my life. I don't need more possibilities in my life. God has not called me to save a whole bunch of possibilities. God has called me to be at a place where I can be, especially in my relationships, where I can be comfortable being connected with something I can depend on. Let me tell you something. This is what makes victims so undependable. One of the things that makes victims not very dependable at all is the very fact that they live their lives as possibilities. Y'all not catching this tonight. You can't depend on a victim because the very space that they're comfortable in is the space called possible, which means you might be able to depend on them, you might not. They might be reliable, they might not. The reason you still got 5 possibles to somebody to ask the question is because a victim don't know how to play. And you sitting up there banking your future on somebody who told you they got 4 books and 5 possibles. The very fact that that told you that they got 4 books and 5 possibles is a reflection of the fact that they got poor judgment. Y'all not catching this revelation tonight. I don't know how much more practical to be, but I'm here to tell you, you gotta stop wasting your time with possibilities. Characteristic 5, and I'm closing. Characteristic number 5, and I'm closing. Y'all with me tonight? Is this making sense at all? The 5th characteristic of a victim is this. The 5th characteristic of a victim is this. I'm mad too, Sister Michelle. The 5th characteristic of a victim is this. You ready? The only way to help them is to ignore them. Yep, I'm getting ready to show you how you can identify a victim, and it's in this 5th characteristic. You ready? The only way you can help them is when you ignore them. The only way to help a victim is to ignore them. I'm spitting free game tonight. The only way to help a victim is to ignore them. Watch this. An illegitimate victim. I'm not talking about legit victims. When we think of the word victim, there's such a thing as a legitimate victim. You can be legitimately a victim in a certain space. There's such a thing as a legit victim, somebody who has been abused, somebody who has been raped, somebody who has been assaulted. There's such a thing as a legit victim, right? So I get that. I'm talking about illegitimate victims, folks who are victims and they really ain't got no real reason to be a victim, but they chose to be one. Let me tell you something. An illegitimate victim cannot function when you don't respond to them. Listen to me. An illegitimate victim cannot function when you don't respond to them. If you want to see them get upset, if you want to see them get nervous, if you want to see them not be able to function, ignore a victim, an illegitimate victim. When you ignore an illegitimate victim, it's like spraying roadkill on a roach. Can't handle it. It really annoys them. Why? Because illegitimate victims are who they are by choice. They are who they are by choice. So the very impetus of who they are is choosing to be who they are. Listen to me. The very impetus of who a victim is choosing to be the victim. We've established that. So if a victim chooses to be a victim or becomes a victim because of their willingness to choose to be a victim, hear me. When you choose to ignore them, they have to choose who they want to be. Listen to me. Listen to me. The very impetus that drives an illegitimate victim is the fact that they made a choice to be a victim. And so the only way you defeat a victim is by defeating them with the very impetus that they've chosen. So when you are dealing with an illegitimate victim, one who chooses to be a victim, one who chooses to point the finger, one who chooses to place blame, one who chooses to make excuses. The only way you defeat them is by giving them the very impetus that put them in the position in the first place. And that is, when you choose to ignore them, they have to choose who they then want to be. Why? Because choosing to ignore them means you are cutting off the lights and you ain't entertaining their choice. Watch this. A victim can only function when they got an audience. That's my last point. I want you to put in the comments. A victim can only function when they got an audience. A victim can only function when they have an audience. Watch this. Some of y'all got victims on your hands and you know it, because not only do they have to have the last word, and not only do they have to listen, watch this. A victim will fight like heck to be heard. They can only function when they got an audience. When you are entertaining their foolishness is when they thrive the best. Watch this. So when you ignore a victim, you better change your number. When you ignore a victim, you better change your address. Let me tell you something. Because a victim is going to pop up at your doorstep. If you're not responding to a victim, they're going to show up at your doorstep. Y'all quiet. I'm teaching better than y'all saying even, you got a victim on your hand. And you tell them, you ain't making no sense. I'm not entertaining your foolishness no more. No. And you don't answer that phone, they're going to show up at your house. 500 missed calls later. Y'all not listening to me. These are victims. And the way you spray roach killer on them is by ignoring them. You have to ignore them until they come to their senses and realize that you ain't going to entertain them. Because a victim can only function as a victim when they have an audience. When you take the audience away, they have nobody else that they can entertain. And when they have nobody else they can entertain, they are forced to have to deal with themselves. So you correct a victim by no longer being an audience and forcing them to have to deal with themselves. Which is why, if you want to help a victim, if you want to help a victim grow, if you want to help a victim be a better person, be who they need to be, give them space. Come on, somebody. Give them space. Give them space. If you want a victim to grow, if you want a victim to come to their senses, change your number. Give them space. Leave their messages on delivered, iPhone users. Y'all quiet in this virtual sanctuary. Leave their messages on delivered. And wait a couple of days and just watch. Because a victim can only function with an audience. Take the audience away, and they have no room to function. Take the audience away, they have nobody else that will entertain their foolishness. Take the audience away, they have nobody else that will pour into their silliness. So the way you combat it is that you become ghosts. Some of y'all better learn how to ghost, folks. Some of y'all better, did you hear what I said? Did you hear what I said? Some of you better learn how to ghost some of these people, especially victims. You better learn how to ghost folks, because the only way you can treat a victim is ghost them. Because the way they function is by you constantly entertaining their foolishness. You got to ghost them. Stop returning their calls. Stop entertaining their text messages. Stop giving them a platform to place blame. Stop giving them a platform where they can always guilt trip you. Stop that foolishness. Stop it. And ghost them so they can grow and be stronger. I'm done. That's my 5 characteristics. Let's pray. It's prayer time. I don't know how impactful tonight's message was, but it is prayer time, and I want to pray with you tonight. And so if you have a prayer request, if there's anything that you want me to pray for, I hope this message bless you. Some of you need to go back and really watch this tape tonight. This was heavier than what I thought. Some of you really need to go back and watch this tape tonight, because the victim is a funny little something to be involved with, not just relationship wise, but friendship wise and any other kind of connection. You don't need victims in your life. You need victors in your life. You need overcomers in your life. Listen, I want to pray for you. Many of you know this. Every morning I get up 5:03, 5:15 at the latest. If I hit the snooze button, I hit the snooze button this morning. I get up, and the first thing that I do is I pray over your prayer request. I want to pray for you. If you've got a prayer request, I want you to drop it in the comments right now. I need to see these comment numbers go up. I literally, after every broadcast, go back through and I read those prayer requests. And every single morning, I pray over your prayer request. Maybe you're saying, Pastor, I've got a prayer request that's too personal. I can't put it out for everybody to see. You can send me your prayer request. You can email me your prayer request at info@rehabcc.org. Email me your prayer request at info@rehabcc.org, and I will be happy to pray for you. Read your request, keep your prayer request confidential, and pray for you. Listen, put it in the comments now. I see some prayer requests that are coming through. Pastor, pray for me. I'm applying for this job. I'm applying for a new career. I pray for my family. I've got hurting family members. Pray for my health. I see you. Pray for my health and my well-being. I want to pray for all of these things. Come on, drop them in the comments. Don't you dare come to virtual church without a prayer request. Yes, job placement, peace of mind, health and stability. Our nation, without a doubt, our nation is all over the place right now. And I want to pray for the condition of our nation. Come on, drop it in the comments. Come on, Facebook. I need to see some prayer requests because every morning I get up and I want to pray over your requests. Tomorrow is my off day. It is my workout day where I don't have, or day of the week where I don't have a workout. One of 2 days, Wednesday and Sunday. And so I may get up tomorrow about 5:30 tomorrow. I might give me an extra 30 minutes of sleep, but I'm going to get up and pray over your request. I want you to drop your prayer requests in the comments right now. What can I pray for you and your family? Pray for me. Amen. I will pray for you. I will certainly pray for you. I want to pray for you, your health, your family, your living conditions, your job situation. I've been talking to a lot of people who aren't satisfied with their current job conditions. I want to pray that God sends promotion even in this COVID season. That God sends breakthrough even in this COVID season, that God sends a release even in this COVID season. I'm here to tell you, a famine cannot stop your future. A famine cannot stop God's plans for your life. And so whatever it is, I want you to know I'm praying. Yes, I'm praying for your son. I pray for Vincent, your son. Yes, employment. I'm praying for that. I'm praying that God sends a wind of stability into his life, financial freedom. Certainly praying for that. Praying for those of you that this has not been a good season for you financially and economically, that God would allow you to rebound like you never had before. I believe that. We serve a God. The Bible says that the earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof. Everything that is here belongs to him. And so we want to continue to pray for that. Yes, I'm praying for your healing mentally, emotionally, spiritually, financially. I'm praying for your health and your well-being, that God would continue to strengthen you. Listen, let's pray. You know how we do every Sunday or every Tuesday, whatever day it is, we always connect hands. If you've got somebody in the room near you, I want you to grab hands with them as a sign of faith, touching and agreeing for about 45 seconds. If not, if you are by yourself, I want you to just clasp your own hand because we are about to pray right now. I want you to put your hands together just like this and clasp your hand as a sign of faith with me, touching and agreeing for this next 45 seconds, because I want to pray over all of these requests. I want to pray over this word that was shared tonight. All right, let's pray. Father, in Jesus' name, thank you tonight for this word, and thank you for how you spoke to our hearts. I pray, God, that you would allow this word to stick in somebody's spirit, that all of us might be exactly what you've called us to be, not just in this season, but in the future seasons to come. God, I pray a special prayer for every prayer request that has come across these airways tonight. God, there's somebody who is in desperate need of an answer from you. I pray, God, that you would let your will be done. Help us to understand, God, that your will has to always be greater than our will, that your plan has to always be greater than our plan, that your purpose for our life should always be greater than our own purpose. And so, God, help us to understand you in the context of you. Help us to understand you in the context of where it is that you're taking us, so that, God, in all of our ways, as we acknowledge you, you will continue to lead our plan. God, answer the prayers of those requests on this broadcast. Answer the prayers of those requests that we cannot see, that are in chat rooms, that are in watch parties, that are in email inboxes. God, I pray that you would not only answer those prayers, but that, God, you would teach us how to pray, that you would teach us what to ask for, that you would teach us what to trust you for, so that we can be everything you've called us to be. We thank you for these things, and we believe you to be a miracle answering God. We believe you for it in Jesus' name. Amen. Listen, if you prayed that with me tonight, if you prayed with me, I want you to put it in the comments. It is so. Come on, put it in the comments right now. It is so. It is so. I believe that by the time this COVID season is over, we're going to have testimonies of people's bodies being healed. I believe that by the time this COVID season is over, we're going to have testimonies of relationships being better. I believe that by the time this COVID season is over, we're going to have testimonies of people who are working dream jobs and in better careers and better career positions. I believe that. Come on, put it in the comments. It is so. It is so. It is your way of saying, Pastor, I touch and agree with you tonight that every prayer request that went forth, that as we touched and agreed, that God is in fact working on our behalf. I believe that. I believe it. Listen, if there's anybody tonight that needs to be saved, while you're typing, it is so. If there's anybody tonight that needs to be saved, if there's anybody tonight that wants to dedicate their life to Christ, maybe you heard, you came for a message on dating, but the Lord really pricked your heart and spirit and spoke to you about being saved. I want to remind you of Romans 10 and chapter 10, verse number 9. That chapter has nothing, and verse has nothing to do with your perfection. The Bible tells us in Romans 10, verse number 9, that if we confess with our mouths, believe with our hearts that Jesus Christ is who he is, lived, died, rose again for our sins, that we are saved. Salvation is as simple as a confession. And it does not mean you have to be perfect. It does not mean that everything in your life has to be properly aligned right now. But salvation, the first step to salvation, is a matter of confession. And God wants you to be saved today. If you are not saved, if you don't know God in the free pardon of your sin, what does that mean, preacher? It means that he died for your very sin and you didn't have to pay for it. He chose to take his own life and allow his own life to be the ransom for your sin. If you understand that tonight, and you know that the best way you can pay him back is to give him your life, and you want to be saved tonight, I want you to touch and agree with me. This, to me, is one of the most important parts of our virtual experience, because it is an opportunity to open up the doors for anybody who wants to dedicate their life to Christ. Listen to me, wherever you are right now, listen to me. If you want to be saved, I want you to repeat these words after me. I want you to repeat these explicit words after me. And those of you that are saved, I want you to pray right now that God sends salvation to somebody's life. Listen, if you're not saved and you want to be saved, I want you to look in this camera and repeat these words after me. I am a sinner. I believe that Jesus Christ was born of a virgin, lived on this earth just like me. He suffered, bled, and died on a cross. But 3 days later, rose from the grave for my sins. Because he lives, I can live. And I am saved. Listen, if you prayed that prayer tonight, I want you to know you've made one of the most important decisions of your life. You've decided to give your life over to Jesus Christ. And I want to welcome you as my brother, as my sister, to the royal family of Jesus Christ. There is no better family to be in. Yes, I told you Sunday, we got some crazy family members, We got some crazy family members that go to church. We got some crazy family members that claim to be saved. But there is no better family to be a part of than the royal family of Jesus Christ. I want to welcome you to the body of Christ. And I want to not only welcome you, but I want to challenge you and encourage you to now take your salvation to the next level. I want you to find a church somewhere, wherever you are. We've got people all over the globe that are tuned into this broadcast on a weekly basis, as near as the Triad area, as far as France and Germany, who tune in regularly every single week to this broadcast. I want to challenge you tonight. I want to challenge you to find a church near you that is a Bible teaching, Bible believing ministry that believes in serving people and giving back to the community. I want you to find that church. I want you to find that pastor. I want you to put your hands in that pastor's hand, and I want you to dedicate your life and commit your works to that ministry so that you can make an impact with that church in your area. Maybe you don't have a church home near you and you want to be a part of the Rehab Christian Center family. I would love to be your pastor. There's so many people that I've been able to connect with since we have been fully virtual during this COVID season, and I cannot wait to meet you, hopefully in a couple of months. I don't know when it will be, but I would love to be your pastor. If you don't have a church home and you would love to want to be a part of the Rehab Christian Center family, you should see moderators on the screen. Just simply like their status, and they will reach out to you and get some information to you, get some information from you. And I would love to be your pastor. I would love to walk with you on this candid journey called Living for Christ. And we make living for Christ and loving God so much more complicated than what it is. You need to find you a ministry. You need to find you a preacher somewhere who can break down the word of God in a way that you can understand, that you can easily apply it to your life. And I would love to be that pastor for you. Listen, I love each of you. I want to challenge all of you to give. I want to challenge all of you to give right now. Let me just say to you, it is giving time. And I want to challenge all of you right now to give. And I want to just say this to you. I am so very grateful for how you have given during this COVID season, and how so many of you have been a blessing to us in our ministry. And right now, I want to challenge you to give tonight. I want to challenge you to give tonight. I want to challenge you to remember your tithes, your offering, if you don't have another place to tithe and give. But I want to challenge you to give tonight. Our ministry is such a blessed ministry, and God has blessed us in such a tremendously short period of time to bless and impact so many people. Having fed over 20,000 people, clothed over 20,000 people in less than 7 years. We turned 7 years in August. A church membership of right now of only 200 to 250 people. But God has really used us in a short period of time to be a blessing to so many people. And it is because we believe in the power of giving. We believe in the power of tithing. We believe in the power of offerings. And we use that money to turn around and be a blessing to those people that need it. And so God is faithful through giving. And I want to challenge you to give today. You can give one of three ways. You can give one of three ways. And I always love to brag on our small church. And I tell people so many times that when you give at Rehab, you can look up and you can see your money in motion. You can see your money being a blessing to people. You can see your money feeding people. You see your money clothing people. You can see your money having an impact, a real impact in the community. So I want to challenge you to give. You can give one of three ways today. One, you can give via Cash App at $REHABCC give. That's $REHABCC give. Right from Cash App, $REHABCC give. You can give online at our website, www.rehabcc.org. That's www.rehabcc.org. Or you can give right from your cell phone again by texting the word Rehab Works, and you should see it on your screen, by texting the word Rehab Works to 88202. That's Rehab Works, 2 words as 1 word, no spaces. Rehab Works to 88202. If you text Rehab Works to 88202, you will get a notification to your phone, and you can give right from your cell phone and be a blessing to this ministry that way. Again, 3 ways you can give via Cash App. Way number 1, via Cash App at $REHABCC give. Way number 2, online at our website, www.rehabcc.org, or you can give right from your cell phone by texting the word Rehab Works to 88202. And I'm here to tell you, if you do those things, God will bless you in a tremendous tremendous, tremendous way. Listen, I love each of you. I'm praying for you. I'm certainly praying that God blesses you and strengthens you this week. I want you to be incredibly prayerful for me. I'm going to be prayerful for each of you this week as you attack your week, that God will continue to bless you and strengthen you. And I want to challenge all of you to meet me back here Sunday morning, 9:08 a.m. sharp. We are still in the virtual space. We will be in this space until the Lord says differently. I am anticipating a second wave of the virus to come. And so I want to challenge all of you that are even in states where they are lifting restrictions to still wear your mask, to still practice social distancing, to only come out if you have to, and to really make sure that you are doing the things necessary that doesn't set us all back another 6-7 months. And so please stay home if you don't have to come out. And Rehab, I hope to see you here Sunday at 9:08 a.m. Do me a favor. Make sure you invite somebody to virtual church on Sunday, and I promise it will bless you. All right. I love you. I'm praying for you. I'm praying for you and your family. I want you to have a phenomenal week. Okay. Peace and blessings to all of you.
Thank you for watching the Rehab Christian Center Live experience. If this broadcast has been a blessing to you and you would like to be a blessing to our leader, Dr. Zeb Talley III, you can sow a seed into his ministry by Cash App at $Pastor ZT3. It is our prayer that this message of hope encourage, enlighten, and empower you to be better. Please tune in Sunday at 9:08 a.m. for our Sunday morning experience. And as always, be blessed and have a wonderful week.